Hi everyone, Michael Rubenfeld here. Yes, I am in the countryside. You can see the beautiful background behind me. This is not AI. I'm in a place called Laskova, where my family and I have a very rustic domek. We even have one of those bathrooms where it's in the house, but it doesn't flush. It's just like a hole in the ground that we pee and poo in. And then it just stays there. Uh, which at first I thought, oh, okay, and now I think, okay, that's how it works, and it seems to be okay for the most part. Sometimes we have to close the door because it gets a bit stinky in the bathroom, but other than that, it's a lot cheaper than putting in plumbing. Anyways, I'm here and I'm taking a bit of a rest, trying to take a bit of a rest from what's been a really intense period of work for me. But I'm happy to say that the work has all been really exciting and interesting. A lot of theater, some film. I recorded um, the documentary that I had mentioned that was going to be made on me, TVP World. Um, Someone found me on YouTube and got in touch, said they're doing a documentary series about foreigners in Poland, and I'm a foreigner in Poland. And so they are making an episode of the series about me. And then, oddly enough, almost immediately after the documentary was shot on me, I then went and shot two documentaries about Polish Jewish artists. And I got to say, it was actually pretty cool having the documentary shot about me by, say, a professional team just before I was about to do it uh, with my also professional team, albeit smaller. It gave me a lot of thoughts about how to structure the day, and yeah, I was pretty into it. I was pretty into it. I really enjoyed it. Uh, and basically, it got me thinking about what I want to talk about today, which is just like how grateful I am that I get to be a part of telling the contemporary um, Polish narrative through a Jewish lens. I believe that any country is full of many different stories, and there tends to be a rather dominant Polish narrative that's rooted in like the Catholic lens. Not only, but as as anyone knows who lives in Poland, Catholicism is quite dominant. And then there's this Jewish minority. There's more than just the Jewish minority, but there's the Jewish minority, uh, and part of my reason for even wanting to move to Poland is because I felt like that minority uh, could use a voice like mine. Not because somehow my voice is somehow so special, but it's unique in the context of contemporary Poland. Meaning, there's very few Jewish artists who were not raised in Poland who have moved to Poland to be a practicing Jewish artist. And I say Jewish artist because although before moving to Poland I wouldn't necessarily, you know, identify as a Jewish artist, but in Poland I made the decision to identify as a Jewish artist because I just felt like there's so few Jews and even fewer Jewish artists that somehow naming what I am felt like the right thing to do in this context so that people knew how to be in relationship to me as a Jew or how not to be in relationship to me as a Jew. But basically, it also helped. helped me sort of frame the project that I'm here to do, which is to be a part of the contemporary Polish Jewish narrative. And I don't mean that the contemporary Polish Jewish narrative is somehow separate from um, the dominant Polish narrative, but I feel like Poland does tell Jewish stories. Polish people do tell Jewish stories. Polish people want to hear Jewish stories. And Poland, whether it wants to or not, will never be able to escape its Jewish narrative, whether it's here in the subconscious or in the consciousness. You cannot have a country with such a vast Jewish history, despite a lot of that history being destroyed by the Germans. It doesn't mean it's not Poland's history. And I believe that telling those stories is really important to the contemporary Polish psychological and emotional reality, because there's still Jews here, right? And even though the majority of the Jews are gone, there are Jews here, and they're growing, and the community is growing, and it wants to grow. And there are a lot of non-Jewish people who also want to see that community grow, want to be a part of seeing Jewishness grow in Poland. And, in order for that to happen, you need Jews. You need more Jews. And so it's kind of why I'm here. I'm here to be a Jew in Poland. And I'm grateful that I'm getting opportunities to tell Jewish stories, which I do a lot. Sometimes they're my own, sometimes they're other people's stories. And it just feels really important to me that I do that for this period of my life. It's important for me. I think it's important for Jewish people living inside Poland and outside of Poland, and I think it's important for non-Jewish Polish people as well. I like to believe that it is, because I think that, I get this feeling that a lot of non-Jewish Polish people are very interested in Jewishness, Jewish culture, but they don't know a lot about it. And so I think that it's important that non-Jewish Polish people have places to turn, or Jews to turn to learn, to ask questions, to be a part of Jewish culture. Because, Jewish culture is great. It's a really great culture. It's a great system. There's, really interesting people. There's an interesting people working right now who are Jewish in Poland. And I'm sorry for Poland that it lost its Jews. There's a really great piece of theater by Michał Zadara, who's a Warsaw-based theater artist, called Sprawiedliwość. And the piece looks at 1968, but more interestingly, it looks at it from the perspective of what Poland lost, but with the Jews, the remaining Jews in 1968 being forced out of Poland, what it lost economically, culturally, etc., etc. And I think that if I think that it's wild to imagine just how different Poland would look right now if it hadn't been for the Second World War. If Poland's Jews were still here, Warsaw was going to become more than 50% Jewish city. What a wild thing. And so there's this, I think, really important contemporary question of, who is Poland right now in the absence of its Jews? And, how do we tell Jewish stories now? What does that mean? How do we tell Jewish stories in Poland right now? It's a confusing thing for me, for everyone, but I'm happy to be a part of that confusion. It's very exciting. It's very interesting for me. And I hope that's interesting for you as well. And I've been reflecting on that the last couple of days, given that I've had some time to finally reflect. Anyways, thank you all. Remember to subscribe, follow. Um, if you like my content and want to continue to receive it, and if you really like my content and want to support me, I do have a Patreon account with some members there, and for as little as a nice coffee per month, the cost of a coffee per month, you can support me in continuing to make content like this. Thanks a lot. Love you. And hope to see you soon.